Hey Utah parents, it's Corinne Johnson here from the Capitol, and it is the end of a really long day, but everyone's gone home for the night, and I thought I'd give you an update on how things went today. So we had one really big win of the session today, a really important bill that we have been working on for years for parents passed. It is HB 427, and the title of the bill is Individual Freedom in Education. But many of you will recognize this bill as the codification of the joint resolution against teaching critical race theory principles in Utah schools. This bill goes far beyond that, though. What's really fantastic is this bill actually helps teachers in schools be able to have discussions with students centered around American constitutional principles. So principles that all men are created equal, that no one race is superior than another race. Principles that hard work and American individualism are what make Americans great, that we don't focus on victim and oppressor status in our classrooms, that we focus on the ability to rise above challenges. And so all of these wonderful values and principles are going to be emphasized in the classroom here in Utah. And we know so many teachers who have been struggling over the last few years as there's been shifts in education to understand what values and principles we should be focusing on in education, what we should be teaching our children in Utah schools. And this bill just reaffirms that it truly is constitutional values that should be taught and discussed in our classrooms here in Utah. So this is a big win for children and parents in Utah who have been asking for clarification on this topic for I think it's like 3 years now. It was in 2021 when the legislature had the extraordinary session and passed the joint resolution on not teaching divisive theories, but uplifting theories in Utah schools. So that's a wonderful big win. So the next step in the process for this bill is to have the governor sign this bill, and we would ask you to text the governor and ask him to please sign into law HB 427. We also need to give a big thank you to the bill sponsors of this bill, Representative Tim Jimenez and Senator Mike Kennedy, who did a fantastic job sponsoring this bill and sharing with the legislators why it's so important that we emphasize these values in the classrooms here in Utah. So that is a big win for the day. And then I'm going to give you a rundown on some of our other bills. So HB 329 is the event notification bill. HB 329 states that if there's going to be adult content in a public park or public venue, that there needs to be a notification provided so that parents and others can be aware, and if they want to send their children to the public park, if there's going to be adult content happening at that park. And this has been a wonderful bill that's been run by several parents out of St. George who had an experience where they had adult content at their public park. There was an adult themed, well, we called it family friendly, but it really wasn't. It was an adult themed drag show at their public park, and several children and family were exposed to this content because they were not aware there was going to be adult themed content at the public park. So we are so grateful for the parents who have come from St. George all the way up to Capitol Hill, have advocated for this bill, and for Representative Colin Jack for running such a great bill. And we're hoping that this bill will also be heard tomorrow on the Senate floor. So this is another bill to text your senator on. So text your senator in support of HB 329 event notification. On down the list, HB 21. This is a bill for the Open Meetings Act that would require that when a public meeting is taking place where there are votes or there's business, it's called a business meeting, that they provide an opportunity for reasonable public comment. So this is kind of a no-brainer bill to us. We feel like that should happen in every meeting, but we're finding that sometimes when city councils, school boards, community meetings in your it's not for planning commissions, things like that, but other service districts, things like that, where they're making votes and they have budgets and they have money and funding, that they are not having public comment at those meetings. And so this would just require them to offer reasonable public comment. So another great bill that's going to hopefully be on the Senate floor tomorrow, HB 21. That is a great bill. All right, next up, HB 82. This is the school assembly notification bill. HB 82 would require 3 days notice for parents if there's an assembly in your school that is on a sensitive topic, a prevention topic, or a topic that involves educational equity. So this is a really good bill to get notice on what is being taught to our kids at school. So we love bills like this. It's a fantastic bill. That's HB 82, school assembly notifications. HB 175 is the school fees amendment bill. This bill would phase out all general fees. So when you go to pay your school, to send your kids to school for the free public education, and you're slammed with that $100 general fee, this would phase that out. So over the next 5 years, school districts would absorb those fees, and there'd be no general fee any longer. So this is a huge win for parents and families. I know that I always have to like save up every September for all of my kids who are in middle school and high school. These fees get super expensive, and then you have to pay extracurricular fees on top of these fees, and it's just not it's really just not free and public education when we got to pay general fees. So I really am grateful for Representative Strong for running this bill. It's also in the Senate. All of these bills, and I don't know if all of them will make it on the board. We only have 1 day, you guys, like 1 day left. And so texting on these bills, sharing on these bills will encourage them to get on the board. They have to prioritize at this point, and we would like them to be able to vote on these bills. So please text your senators so that these bills can get on the board and they can be voted on. There's also HB 465, which would require a school library to notice parents of what their children check out from the school library and allow parents to have access to library catalogs. This is a very good bill because as parents, we know that we don't know what's in our school libraries right now. And while we're still working to get harmful content out of our school libraries, you want to be able to have a way to know what your child is reading and checking out of a library. So this is an excellent parents' rights bill by Representative Welton, also in the Senate. And then we have one bill that's in the House. It's Senate Bill 227, and this will be heard tomorrow. We have confirmation that Senate Bill 227 will be heard in the House tomorrow, and this is the School Board Ethics Review Board. This creates an appeals board for parents or any citizen who has seen their school board act unethically and would like to report an ethical conduct violation on a school board member. And now this will go to a state ethics review board. So there's a higher level of accountability for our elected officials to make sure they're acting ethically and responsibly. Since there is no way to do recall or anything like that in Utah, this would be a way we can have some accountability for the ethical actions of school board members. So that's a rundown, and then I want to give one final update on our super priority bill. This is Sub 7 HB 138, also known as the mashup bill because we mashed up HB 138 with HB 464, and this is the bill trying to get more processes in place to remove the sexually explicit content from our school libraries. And for those of you out in that world who haven't been up at the Capitol with us, it has been a crazy journey with this bill. We have had to go through many versions of the bill even before it got out. The first draft got out. There's been a huge pushback from the education establishment on this bill, unfortunately. It's been really hard for us as parents to watch the education establishment push back so hard against this bill. And the senators, we didn't have the votes. We just don't have the votes. And so in order to get the votes, there were some amendments that were proposed, and those amendments would have done more harm than good. So we are not, we don't think the bill's going to be heard tomorrow. And we're just hoping that we can do more work on this bill in the interim and that it will come back next year. And because we have learned a lot about the type of pushback, we just didn't expect the education establishment to not want to help remove these sexually explicit books from our schools. And so we're gonna have to fight even harder next year to help them understand what is going on in our schools, and bring this bill back next year and try and do better next year. So that is kind of a sad note for the session, but we're trying not to let it get us down, because we've had so many amazing, wonderful bills pass. I haven't even mentioned the school choice bill that passed the first week of the session, and SB 55's it's a fantastic bill on curriculum transparency that passed. So, you know, it's just really overall, we're going to get some amazing bills passed. We'll have some wins, we'll have some losses, but at the end of the day, parents' rights are being protected, expanded, and promoted here at the state capitol this year. And we just want you to have the opportunity to stay engaged and stay involved. So now it's your turn to take all this information and to communicate with your senator and with your House rep on these bills. The easiest way to do this is to just download the graphic that we post and text the graphic to your senator and say, I also support these bills. Will you please make sure that these bills get passed? And we're going to be updating the graphic. So when I have an updated graphic, we'll post it for you guys, and you can text the graphic to your senators. Another good way is to get the Amplify app on your phone. And we've been beta testing that all this session, and it's been such a cool tool. If you don't have the Amplify app, go get it, download it on your phone. Amplify USA in the Apple or Android store, and you can load your representatives right into the app, and then you'll get notifications, and you can just tap a button and you can text your rep a message. It's so cool. So that's another good thing to do if you haven't done that yet. And tomorrow's it. Tomorrow's the last day. So we really appreciate you following along with us and being part of this journey, and for communicating with your legislators. I heard all day today from all the legislators and senators. Can you please tell them to stop emailing me? I know how you feel on this bill. Like, we get the message, and I'm like, we're not gonna stop. Just keep going, keep communicating, and waiting for your parental rights. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow.